Hey everybody, welcome back to Omens. I'm your host Ryan, AM Air Pronouns. This is episode 53, The Tower. Alright, let's dive into it. Heavy stuff. The Tower is one of the biggest cards that makes people go, oh gods! Fuck no, get that away from me. Fair enough. Tower is, well, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Let's walk into it slowly, because always best to do that. So first up and foremost is the numerology of the Tower. So the Tower is card 16 in the Major Arcana, so we have the numbers 1, 6, 7, and 16. So I have my Tarot of the Old Path card here up for that, and we're starting off with a rather violent looking card. We've got a lovely toad up here in the front. Big boy toad. Just the bridge, just chilling. There's some water behind him, a crumbling bridge, a tower that's shaped like a person's head that's falling apart with fire blazing out of it from all places. Lightning, people falling out, and did we notice all the falling stars too? All the stars are falling out the sky. Oh yeah, by the way, this thing is like just crumbling to pieces and major destruction. But there's just a toad chilling in the front foreground. And so yeah, that's pretty extreme right off the bat. Like I said, we've got like I said, a tower that looks like a bust of a person, which and that's got to be one of the funniest towers I've ever seen. Just to say that. So the numerology. So number 1. Gone over this a bajillion times by now. It's about the ego. It's about the self. It's about the physical body. It's about beginnings. It's all that. Let me. Ow. Trying to look up the symbolism of toads. Toad symbolism. All right. So anyway, oh, that's funny. Alright, so, the beginnings. One's pretty basic. The number 6. 6 is where things get interesting. So 6 is the middle, or the center mind plane number, and it's the link between the left brain rational number 3 and the right brain creative, idealistic, imaginative number 9. 6 is kind of an equal harmony of both of them. And it's the link that brings the 3's rationality into the 9's idealism and grounds the 9's idealism down into the logic of the 3. It's kind of a bridge number in itself. It's a it's a link. It's the link. It's that part of your. It's basically that part of your brain that actually links the two right and left hemispheres. That's the number 6. The actual bridge right there. It's creation. It's destruction. It's the balance between opposites. Yeah, it does a lot. The number 6. All right, and then we add 1 plus 6, and we get 7. And 7 is again, it's our third and final physical number. It's about sacrifice, about learning. It's about practical activity. Is that what I wrote? Yes. It's about philosophy and about detachment. So 7 is kind of a very spiritual physical number. It's like this is sacrificing the physical to enter into the spiritual, into the mental. It's like 7 is right before we hit the high of the 8 and the 9. Is that a physical? Yeah, that's a physical, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Okay. So, which puts 8 as a soul number and 9 as the mind number. So, I always got to remind myself of that occasionally. So, yeah, 7 is where we start. We've entered the last stage of the physical, and we're about to ascend into the higher stages of the soul and the mind. And it's like, okay, this is kind of where the physical is like being prepared as a foundation for the mind and the spirit. And so it's fairly practical, and it's like setting itself to learning to raise itself up into the next levels. and slowly detaching from the physical world to move up, basically. All right, so all of that together to say that the number 16, if we take all of that together and we boil it down, kind of put it together into like a sentence, what I come up with is: the self sacrifices creation and movement and destruction to detach from the world. What the hell did I write? The self sacrifices creation and movement and destruction to detach from the world. Okay, so basically we're saying that sacrificing the self and the movement and the freedom in the world, basically just sacrificing our world through destruction, like destroying all of this bullshit, destroying all this stuff, all the bullshit, all the excess, all the extra, in order to create new freedom, to move higher, to ascend and detach. And basically, if we put them together, you can also come up with your own sentence if you like, especially if mine makes little to no sense, because apparently I wrote it while I was high. And I don't think I've had anything that makes me high for a while. Oh, wait, that's just my natural state of being. Anyway. Alright, so that's kind of... It's almost like... So that adds even more onto this card, because our tower is literally in the shape of a person's head, which... that's all falling apart. So it's like the physical body is falling apart, and these extraneous stuff is like, okay, all this extra shit is no longer necessary. So we're gonna destroy all that, throw it out, and whatever's left is what's actually useful. Now, the toad symbolism is, toads are traditionally, because it always gets me in this card. I always see it and I'm like, god damn, that is a big fucking, that's gotta mean so much. What the hell do toads symbolize? Do I remember to look it up? No, I never do. So I've looked it up. And toads are traditionally negative symbols. They are commonly viewed as demonic creatures, often magical yet evil. In many legends, toads figure as the guardian of treasures. Its transformation of tadpole to maturity renders the toad a frequent symbol of resurrection and rebirth. And that is from websites.umich.edu. So, University of Michigan, maybe? So yeah, they're another one from Pinterest by the Mystics Emporium. Used by shamans in South America to induce visions of the spirit world to aid healing, toads are said to have magical skin. Throughout the world, toads have been linked to witchcraft. They teach us to look beneath the surface and to seek the real beauty in every situation, however unattractive it might appear on the surface. So again, that... okay, it looks pretty ugly, but it's also about magic and spiritualism, and they're bad. And again, bad omen makes sense in the Tower card. It's like, oh, that's not auspicious. That means something bad's gonna come around the corner, and it's, since it's linked with destruction, life, death, and rebirth, it's like, well, something's going to die to be reborn, and that's always a little messy. So that's the numerology of the Tower, and yeah, if this card came up, I'd be like, have you got your seatbelts on? Grab your hats, strap them around your chin, tie your bonnets down, hold on to your horses, arms and feet inside the ride at all times, please. That's a, that card in particular from that deck, I'd be like, oh, honey, shit going down. Alright, so, moving on, in the Tower in Alchemy, and I have my Mermaid Tarot here for this, which is, of course, a lighthouse with fire spewing out of it, and two mermaids falling down from the tower. Well, it looks like they jumped, and one kind of went into free fall, with her head is gonna really hurt at that angle when she hits the water. The other one's probably a bit more of a diver form going there, but either way, not fun. They're just kind of jumping out of the lighthouse because, I mean, it's on fire and spewing fire, so it's probably fairly dangerous. So that almost speaks to me as a place where this was once safe, no longer is. Time to leave. And in Alchemy, I actually... the quote from the book is, "The wrong intention for undertaking this work, inappropriate attention to details, haste, pride, and materialism corrupting the work. So basically, boiled down, this is the point where things fall apart if you haven't got your head on straight. Is that last part's from me. So basically, it's like, well, we were doing something and the lab blew up, so now we need to jump out the window because, oops, we didn't follow all of our safety protocols. This is a card that if it came up, I'd be like, you need to get the fuck out of there. Shit's about to blow. It's like, it's time for the parachute plan type deal. So whereas the other one, it's like, oh, honey, you fucked. Everything is... Tarot of the Old Path is a little bit more spiritual. It's like we're breaking down some false idolatry here. This one is more of a... the lab's about to blow because you decided you knew best. And you really didn't. Pride gets in the way of the work, or the wrong intention for undertaking the work. Alright, so in astrology, the tower is connected with Mars. And we have, of course, my celestial deck here, because why not? And we've got the big warrior Mars dude, like giant size, marching through, smashing down brick walls with his sword. We've got the symbol for Mars, symbol for fire, and the symbol for that is Pe. Yeah, that Hebrew letter Pe, or Pe, or P. It's P-E. I don't know how it's pronounced. That letter, and we'll get to that in the next section. But he's just marching through full Roman regalia, just breaking shit down. And so Mars is the warrior planet of energy, aggression, assertiveness, and self-defense. The tower is a fortified stronghold. It's built to withstand the forces of nature and time. In this card, however, Mars is in full attack mode, and the tower is falling apart. It's under the assault from all the elements. So both the card and the planet represent quick, short, sudden bursts of energy and power. They symbolize intensity, potency, drive, and desire. And they're markers of inspiration and impetuous for change. In most cases, it's impossible to miss the lightning strike from Mars war machines. And yes, that was all paraphrased down in my tarot and astrology book. I'm not going to go too deep into it here. I'm not going to go too deep into Mars specifically here because check out last week's episode. What does it say? Oh, yes, Mars. So, I already done a lot of that. So, but in correlation to the tower, Mars is aggression, is drive, is power, is fire energy. It's just get going, break shit down. And when it's applied to the tower, which is about catastrophe and things falling apart, yeah, shit goes fast. It's like, this one is... So with the other two, we had the first one, which was kind of a more, yeah, everything you've built is falling apart because you built it falsely. Next one was, you fucked up, you fucked around, found out, now get the fuck out of there. This is more of a, you fucked around and now shit's coming for you. It's like, you're kind of in danger here a little bit. You wanted to know? Well, okay, now you're gonna know. Alright, so, and again, like, I love the quote from the book, it's impossible to miss the lightning strike or a strike from Mars war machines, I think was the actual quote. Yeah, it heavy duty. Alright, so in the Kabbalah, as we saw with the last card, we saw the Hebrew letter Peh, and that is the letter that corresponds to the Kabbalistic path on the Tree of Life that the tower corresponds to. And that is path 27. And I have my Hush tarot here. And this tower is, it kind of looks like almost like one of those old, if you ever watched the Red Wall series, it kind of looks like one of those big old-fashioned medieval towers like that, like from a kid's cartoon type deal. Except for the top half is cracked and leaning backwards, and there's a flock of, there's like 4 birds kind of sitting around it. So the tower, here, the tower is not in the process of being destroyed. It's already been destroyed. It's actually in the process of just all the destruction has already happened. It's in the process of being reclaimed by nature, pretty much. It's like something bad happened here, but it's all over, and it's kind of being rebuilt in a new manner, which I like that for this card. I hadn't really thought about this card before, and that's, hey, part of why I do this video podcast thing, is because to see new things in my cards, in my decks, and this one is it's like I said, destruction already happened. So in the Kabbalah, path 27 is the path between Netzach and Had. It corresponds to Mars, the sphere of Mars. Alright, so Netzach is Sephirot number 7. It means victory. It is found in Noga, the sphere of Venus. Its color is green, its stone is malachite, and its image is a naked Amazon. And it's located on the Pillar of Mercy, which is all about abundant energy, which is the pillar of energy flowing energy. Like, just energy everywhere, just running down all the walls, filling up the hallways. Oh, wait, am I talking about The Shining now? I mean, that's a good image. If you know the scene I'm talking about in The Shining, where there's blood all over the walls and filling through the hallways and stuff, that's kind of the Pillar of Mercy. Except for, think ice cream instead of blood, maybe? That's kind of sticky and gross, but think something good. Just flowing everywhere, filling the place up, no stopping it, no containment whatsoever. That's the Pillar of Mercy. It's all the good things in life, just fill you up. And especially when it comes to Venus, because Venus is about the love and stuff, and whatever else I said back in my Venus episode. I don't know. Alright, the naked Amazon, I do like that as kind of an image, because it's like, the Amazons were warriors in Greek mythology, warrior women who were basically all out there in your face. They believe they were the daughters of Ares, or he was the progenitor of their line, or he was their patron. I think he might have just been their patron. One of those three. It's always confusing in Greek mythology. It might have been all three. Like I said, it's Greek mythology. Could have been. But either way, so they were brash. They were out there. They didn't give two shits. If you think about another example would be the Celtic warriors that like to paint their faces blue and run into battle naked to intimidate their enemies, because it's like, I fear no death, I fear no wounds, I am not even armored. Kind of what we're seeing, kind of what the naked Amazon image type deal is, except for I think the Amazons actually wore armor, so technically a Celtic warrior would, or whatever they were actually called, would be more an accurate image. It's the person that gives no fucks. It's like, come at me! Not come at me, I'm coming at you very fast, very loud, very angry, and very, 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 very naked. That's a little scary. So anyway, so that's Netzach, and Netzach is, it's also found in the realm of Yetzirah, Olam Yetzirah, which is the formative world of water. It's the place, so, world of water, which is, Yetzirah is where things, like, really start being made, start forming, like, the baby in the womb starts, the fetus in the womb actually starts growing and forming in Yetzirah. So the meanings of, where'd it go? So Netzach is the place of all creativity. It's the place of the right brain. Where have I heard that before? I don't know. We'll get back to it. Alright, it's the right brain is the originator of all ideas and creativity is Netzach. It's just all the fun stuff, basically. Or, well, not all the fun stuff, because logic can be pretty fun. It's basically all the swirly art, whatever, has no lines, splash, the acrylic pour type art style. That's what Netzach is. It's just all the creativity. Now, Had is the opposite. Ish. Had means splendor. It is located in the Kokabi sphere of Mercury. So the mind, communication, yada yada. Its color is orange, its stone is opal, its image is the hermaphrodite, which is basically the Greek, and I think some people might actually be reclaiming that word a little bit, some intersex people. It's the Greek legend, myth, hero. Was it a hero, or it was basically the hermaphrodite was the child of Hermes and Aphrodite. It's in the name. And since Hermes is not really strictly in a very Grecian masculine role, he's a little bit gender fluid. And Aphrodite is, yes, the woman of the goddess of love and whatnot, but some of her original role, actually, she was also a goddess of war. In a way, she was a mother, so she had a little bit more masculine than a lot of the other Greek goddesses. So it was basically the kind of the best. It was the femme. Aphrodite would have been kind of your femme butch a little bit, and Hermes was your femme masculine. I'm not sure. Basically, they were both kind of a little bit gender fluid, so when they got together, they ended up with a child who was equal parts male and female, biologically. So they were pretty much clean split down the middle? No, I don't think they were split down the middle, but either way. So that was the hermaphrodite, equal amounts of both male and female. Which is interesting. It is located on the restrictive pillar of severity. So severity is what comes in and says, all this blood all over the walls is not going to do it. Put it in a bucket. Seriously. Or quit it with the ice cream machine unless you've got a goddamn cone to put it in. The pillar of severity is where we basically get the bucket for our water. It's the container. It's the, okay, no, we've got too much here. We need to just limits, please. Let's just be rational about this. Which is another interesting thing. It is also located in Yetzirah, the formative world of water. Had is the place of logic and reason. It is the representative of the left brain, and it's where it helps put our reality into perspective. It's where we take all this lovely stuff from the right brain and we go, okay, hang on, let's actually put this down into actual reality type deal. It's like, okay, we do kind of have to obey the laws of physics, even if we don't always know what they are, and even if they sometimes contradict themselves. We do still have to listen to the laws of physics. So that's Hod. So the tower comes in between both of those. Almost like the number 6. I saw that and I was like, oh my, that puts an entirely new perspective on the tower. For me especially, because it's like, this is literally where the right brain and the left brain meet. This is the path in between the two of them. This is going from the creative, out there, imaginative, idealistic, and bringing it into the logical, the solid, the sound, the physical realm. Taking that physical, taking all that rationale and bringing it over into the other side to expand it into something more creative. Just bringing that back and forth of what can we actually do? What can we aspire to? What can we change? What can we become even newer at? And that works really well with this card in the tarot, in the Hush tarot, because like I said, it's like this is the aftermath of the tower breaking. It's like, well, something has broken. Now what can we make out of it? It's like the people are gone and the birds are here. Let's do something new and creative with this. It's fascinating. I freaking love it. I'm going to start using that so much. It's like, yeah, shit breaks, but what about afterwards? What can you build next? What can you make out of these fallen puzzle pieces? What can you craft? What can you rebuild and make it reasonable? It's like, what can build back better? type deal. And I felt weird saying that. Was that a political slogan we don't like? I forget now. Or was it one? Anyway, it feels like a political slogan, and that always feels a little weird. But you get my point. It's basically the same thing. It's like, okay, shit's broke, now we gotta fix it, but how can we build it and make it better than it was? Alright, so that's the Kabbalah. The Kabbalistic Angel is Uriel, the Fire of God, and of course he is a special archangel in this deck, which means he does not have the guardian stuff of everything else. So I went ahead and I looked up even more from him in other places. So, Uriel warns of disasters, aids in transformation, watches over thunder, and terror. Sounds like the perfect angel for the Tower card. And it's like, okay, shit's going down here in a bit. Yeah, okay, good. Or, hey, you need to change some shit up, so let me help you through with that. Uriel is has an affinity with lightning and electricity. They are the angel of wisdom, prophecy, and service, are the big things. So it makes sense for an angel who warns of disaster to be like the angel of prophecy and divination. Like, I see all these things. Let me show you. Be over here. They help. They help you to break. Uriel helps you to break out of worth-diminishing situations and to see your own worth and substance. They inspire intellect and creativity. Hey, we've got a theme going here. And they guard all of hell and the afterlife. They're kind of one of Uriel's titles is the Hell Keeper, which is kind of cool. And there's a whole thing behind that. It's actually fascinating to look up if you're interested. It's basically speaking of how Uriel is the guard for Gehenna and the other two that I don't know the names of, even though I thought I did. One of them starts with an SH, I think. But all the Judaic afterlives, Uriel is the guardian, the gatekeeper of the gate that leads to all of them. And type deal. Which, hey, there are multiple afterlives in the Judaic tradition. Judaism might be a little bit more interesting than I was led to believe when I was a wee little Baptist child. Alright. So, again, with Uriel being the, hey, this ain't fucking working for you. Let's break this shit down. Break it up. Let's transform it into something better. Let's help you, like, really figure this shit out and do something new. So, the Fire of God would probably be a pretty good one to call on. And again, with a caveat, because I feel like I need to mention this every now and then, I don't see angels as specifically ascribed to the Christian God or the Judaic God or the Islamic God, because, oh hey, first and foremost, that's a bunch of angels ascribed to 3 sort of different gods that are all supposed to be the same, but might be different aspects of the same, and all seem to have different agendas, but I'm pretty sure at this rate they're just pretty much 3 different separate gods, or 3 separating gods. I think that's more accurate. I think they're at a point where it's like, it's technically it was one, and now it's splitting into 3 different, because 3 different ones, maybe a few different ones at this rate. I don't know, that's kind of the feel I get with that, but then I'm a hard polytheist, so. But anyway, my point with the angels is when I have worked with them, and they were kind of the first spirit guides that came to me, was the Archangel Michael. It's like, there wasn't an association with a particular god. It was like, we're kind of minor deity. They're kind of minor deities in their own right at this rate. They're not gods specifically, but they're not specifically attached to one or another. They're more like a go-between who also, I don't know how to explain it 100% without sounding really weird, because I haven't really done a lot of digging into it. because I'm like, okay, cool, that works, but I'm more interested in other things. But they're messengers. I mean, angel literally means messenger. They're kind of the go-between. They're like spirits that got handed this title and have become their own and own beings, and they work with people, and they work with deities, and they work with helping people go to deities and act as a go-between, but also like an introduction. That was kind of what it was, is the archangels kind of helped introduce me to my gods type deal. So when I say like fire of God or whatever, now granted on the cards themselves, it's spelled capital G-O-D. Me, at this rate, I spell all God as G-O-D-D, which is a thing I saw recently, which I actually kind of like, is instead of saying God, parentheses, des, parentheses, it's like just put two D's, so it's like kind of acknowledging that goddess that we have in English as just God. Now granted, can't really tell that when you're saying it, but wow, tossing my microphone. Give some, get some. I'm sure I confused my phone the first couple of times I spelled goddamn with 3 D's. Triple D, goddamn. Alright, but anyway, that's my thing with angels, is they're not specific to a thing. Now granted, if it's something you need to skip over, fair enough. Everybody's got their traumas. Alright, moving on to Fantasy World Tarot, and the being associated with the tower is the Gargoyle. He's a pretty one. He's a very pretty black demonic looking gargoyle with his tongue sticking out, sitting on top on a ledge, kind of like a Notre Dame style type deal. There's lightning, there's clouds. Nothing's really breaking per se, but I mean, it's not the best looking. So gargoyles. Gargoyles is fairly interesting. So gargoyles specifically are a carved or formed grotesque. And that's literally what they're called, is statues that look, I don't think I wrote it down, but anyway, there were specific statues that are made to look like monstrous or like really massively deformed animals are known as grotesques in architecture, which is fascinating. Now, those grotesques specifically become a gargoyle when they are made with a spout to drain water away from a building. So gargoyles are pretty much a specific architectural feature that has slowly entered into as its own mythical beast in our culture, because we have, I know there was a TV show called Gargoyles, like, back some odd decades ago. I'm not even going to try to guess because I'll probably get it wrong. Years or decades, I don't know. I've seen a few web comics with gargoyles, which are basically they're creatures that are humanoid, but they can turn to stone and grow wings and claws and horns and stuff, and they're gargoyles and they have stone skin and whatnot. And I mean, it's kind of cool. So it's become its own mythical beast in our world alone. So they're a carved or formed grotesque with a spout designed to convey water from a roof and away from the side of a building. The name itself comes from a few different sources. We're going to focus on the French gargoyle, which means throat or gullet. And when constructed for decoration only, it's known as a grotesque, a chimera, or a boss. So we kind of already went over that. Now, there's a legend associated with the gargoyle. So it's the legend of Saint Romanus. And the legend goes that Saint Romanus delivered the country around Rouen from a monster called Gargoyle, or Goji, which was said to be kind of a typical dragon-like looking creature. It's got the wings, the claws, the spout, breathing fire, the horns, all that. It is pretty grotesque looking, pun intended. So it was kind of a typical dragon-like creature, able to breathe fire. Saint Romanus managed to subdue the creature somehow. There's a few different ones. Either he showed it a crucifix and it went, "Oh my god! Why are you showing me a lowercase t and why does it hurt?" Or he actually fought it with a sword and killed it. I think there was another one, but I forget that one. But either way, he managed to subdue it somehow, probably through the power of prayer and faith and all that, because he's a saint. And he then, this is where I find it mildly amusing and also kind of like, what were you thinking? Is because to get rid of the monster, to destroy the monster's body, he and the town decided to burn it. A fire-breathing creature, you obviously burn it. Yeah, so that worked on most of its body. Its head and its neck, however, it did not burn because it was fire-breathing, so they were already fireproofed. So they decided to attach the head and the neck they mounted it onto the walls of the newly built church to scare off evil spirits. And that's the big thing about gargoyles. That's their main legend, is that they are attached to buildings to scare away evil spirits and stuff. And they are guardians and protectors of whatever building they're mounted to. Which is kind of cool. So that basically brings up a whole nother little thing with the tower here, where it's like, yeah, shit's bad, but also call upon protection, ask for help. If I was to get this one, I'd definitely, like, probably get a good emphasis of, like, hey, you need to call for some help. You need to basically let go of your pride and ask for help. It's like shit's going down. I mean, we've still got lightning here in the background. A storm's coming. Ask for help. Whether it be from somebody else or from your spirits or your whatever, all your peoples, basically. It's like, ask for help. So that's the gargoyle. Alright, so final section. These are always so much faster. It's kind of nice. The traditional meaning, and I have here my Disney villain deck. And we have here the tower, and it's Rapunzel's tower. It's all dark and cloudy, and all we see of Rapunzel herself is her long golden hair flowing out of the side window, and it's the only bright spot in all this darkness. So the traditional meaning of the tower is that it heralds dramatic change, breakups, breakdowns, disintegration of a structure, a fire. Oh wait, no, sorry. It doesn't herald. Well, it could herald fire. The card itself, the element associated with the tower card is fire. That's what I meant to say. It's pure destruction of false ideas and beliefs. I'm trying to figure out somewhere to set this damn paper so I can read it. It's a purge or an intervention. It can also be enlightenment, inspiration, and a release. Purification, protection, again, that gargoyle, self-preservation, renovation. It's like, okay, it's time to, like, actually pull out the old stuff, put new stuff in. So we've got, again, this purification, Rapunzel's hair, which in the Disney movie was able to heal all ills, grant new life type deal. So out of this dark tower, this really nasty place, comes purity and enlightenment, and literally enlightening, like, what does it stand for? Enlightening, giving light, I think. Yeah, so basically it's a literal, like, lighten things up type deal. It's like break this dark structure to let the light out, especially here in this card. Inverted, it's a warning. Things are rotten inside, and if you don't fix it now, it's gonna shatter. A wake-up call, things are distorted. If you don't get clear, the universe will clear it up for you. So if the tower comes up in reverse for you in a reading, it's pay attention, because the big thing with the inverse is, like, the other thing I've heard with it is sometimes it means it's a destruction, but kind of a lesser one. It's not as bad as the tower upright. However, that might be because, again, you're getting a warning ahead of time. It's like, hey, shit's about to go down, just so you know. Might want to prep for that. And if you don't kind of do some stuff now, it's going to get bad. So people get that, and they're like, oh shit. So they're like, okay, well, it shouldn't be too bad. So they start looking around, start paying attention. They start doing stuff because you usually know what it's talking about. And if it's a complete surprise, You weren't paying as much attention as you probably should have been. But yeah, so it's usually it's a destruction of a lesser extent because you have a heads up, a bit more of a heads up than you had before, or we're going to have later if you don't pay attention. And if you don't pay attention, eventually the tower will come upright. Like, okay, you had your chance. Time to clean house. It's basically mom coming in with the garbage bag after she told you to clean your room for five times in a row, and you still haven't cleaned it a week later. So she said, "Oh, okay, well everything is going in the trash." Or your dad. It was usually my dad. No, mom could do that too. Mom would do that too. But I mean, fair enough. When you couldn't even see the floor. Ugh. Wasn't my room. I kept my room clean-ish. But anyway, it's the point where basically the tower inverted is mom's warning you she's coming in there with a trash bag. Upright is it's too late. She's coming in there with the trash bag right now. And shit's going to get cleaned one way or another. And you're probably not going to be happy about it at all. Alright, so that, ladies, gents, and NBs, maybe ladies, gents, and ents. Alright. Well, anyway. Alright, everybody. That was The Tower, episode 53. And next week is a special. It's the 5th week, and I actually have something planned and written out. I know it's a miracle. I'm surprised, too. We're going to dig into the houses of the natal chart. So that'll be fun. Be just kind of a quick overview of them, I guess. Well, a little bit of a dig. I don't know. It's all on one page, and it's only double 2 lines in one, so it's not all that bad. It's not like 3 lines in one little space. But anyway. Alright. Thank y'all for your time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see y'all. I hope y'all have a good rest of your whatever. I'll see y'all next week. Alright, bye.